Again, so we're continuing on with the spiritual analogies for the spiritual life, journey with Jesus, and we have here a garden full of weeds, and this is a analogy from St. Teresa of Avila. And again, the garden, I believe it's St. Teresa of Avila, and then it's when we begin with a garden, because our soul is a garden, but sometimes our garden gets full of weeds, big weeds, mortal sins, and little weeds, venial sins. And so we, in order to grow in the spiritual life, we need to be purged, as in the three stages: purgative, illuminative, and unitive. In order to grow, we need to purge out the weeds. We usually begin with the big guys because that's more noticeable. That's why we have the beautiful sacrament of reconciliation to purge us of our sins, the weeds that are in our souls. And then after a while, we learn to get rid of the big guys, and then we start working on the little guys, the little weeds. And after a while, what happens is that once we purify the garden, get the rocks out, then we can have little rows, and then we start to plant our vegetation that we want. And then we begin to have a beautiful garden, but it's a continuous renewing of pulling out the weeds. And after a while, we focus on the little guys. So at the very beginning, we're not even focused on the little weeds. What happens is we focus on the big ones, which we need to. We pull them out, then we can focus on the little guys, and then we start to plant some vegetation, and then we're constantly pulling out the little weeds so that our garden is beautiful and purified. That's the first stage, is learning how to allow your soul to be purged so that you can have a beautiful garden.